Flight Day 10 dawned on board Space Shuttle Atlanta Saturday evening, signaling the crew of 7 astronauts and cosmonauts that it was time for their final day inside the International Space Station, the day they closed the doors. Commander Terry Wilcutt and pilot Scott Altman started the day on the shuttle's flight deck, carrying out a 4th reboost of the station's orbit. Executing an hour-long series of pulses of the shuttle's steering jets, Atlantis raised the station's orbit 3.5 miles, for a total increase of 14 miles during the past week, leaving ISS circling more than 230 miles above the Earth. Meanwhile, mission specialist Boris Moryakov finished packing up the Progress supply craft. That ship is now filled with packing materials and other unneeded items, which will be disposed of as the ship burns up, re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Moryakov and Wilcutt shut the hatch on Progress and joined their crewmates in completing the stowage of supplies on the Zvezda module, while mission specialist Yuri Malenchenko secured Zvezda's rear hatch. By early Sunday morning, everything was in place, and Altman grabbed a camera to document the condition of the station's newest component, the one which offers the life support systems, the command and control systems, a place to eat, a place to sleep, all the things that are necessary to make the International Space Station capable of sustaining a full-time crew in this home on orbit. Then they turned the lights off, and Wilcutt and Malenchenko closed Zvezda's forward hatch and moved into the Zarya control module, now serving primarily as a storage area since Zvezda assumed flight control of the station. First, they shut Zarya's rear hatch, and after waiting for a time to ensure there were no leaks, they floated back to the next door and closed Zarya's forward hatch. While in the Unity module, the astronauts showed off the station's logbook and the entry left behind by the crew of STS-106. And then, with everything in place, they closed Unity's hatchway to pressurized mating adapter number 1, retreated into PMA-2 and closed Unity's forward hatch, and then the hatch on PMA-2, and finally that of the shuttle's orbiter docking system. Later, mission specialists Ed Liu and Dan Burbank reinstalled the centerline camera in the ODS for use during Sunday night's undocking. Over more than 6 days, the astronauts and cosmonauts delivered and installed more than 3 tons of supplies and equipment inside and outside the International Space Station, preparing it to accommodate the first resident crew, which is scheduled to arrive on board this fall.
Good morning, Atlantis.
Good morning, Houston.
That wake-up music was the U.S. Coast Guard's Semper Paratus. It was played for Dan Burbank, a U.S. Coast Guard Lieutenant Commander.
All right, welcome aboard. Just want to give you a quick tour now that we're cleaning up.
Outstanding, we'll take it.
You can see Progress is all buttoned up. Heaters is installed in the pit and all functional and verified. The control panel's over here. Basically, all the hard gear has been taken out of the crew quarters. We just have some soft stowage in there. Mostly personal belongings moved into the crew quarters so that it's ready when the first crew gets up here.
All this gear is marked and inventoried by Atlantis' astronauts, and the inventory lists are being left behind for Bill Shepard, Yuri Gudzenko, and Sergei Krikalev, so that when they arrive on board in early November, they will unstow this gear and complete the setup of their new home in space. This is the area of the central post computer where many of the commands for service module system functions are initiated. The two green tables on the side of the central computer are designed for laptop computers to be plugged in, and this view through the hatch into the Zarya module. The yellow spheres on the wall are air repressurization units for the cabin atmosphere of the service module. A number of components for life support systems, oxygen generation systems, and air filters are located in these bags. A color monitor that will be used in association with one of the laptop computers being left behind for the first expedition crew. Laptop computers, floppy disks, electrical cables, notepads, pens and pencils, yellow sticky pads, all of the amenities of office supplies left behind for that first resident crew once they arrive on board in November. You're looking aft to the hatch between the working compartment of the service module and the transfer tunnel leading to the Progress resupply ship. That has been buttoned up, and the vestibule between the Progress and the service module has been depressurized. That door leads to one of the crew quarters, the sleep stations for the expedition crew members, providing privacy and a view of the world outside. Those two canisters would hold solid fuel oxygen generating candles as a backup system for producing oxygen for the service module in the event.
Atlantis, Houston, for Scooter, while you're doing that excellent video work, something caught our eye on panel 221, and we wonder if you could check for us on the gas mask that's on that panel. It does not have a lock wire removed. If you could check that. We thought we saw it there, but hopefully you can prove us wrong.
Again, the panel of interest.
221.
Okay, checking.
Those three cylinders you're looking at, part of the carbon dioxide removal system for the station, the so-called Vozduk system, which will be activated by the Expedition 1 crew once it arrives on board. Those containers house gas masks for the crew members in the event they would become necessary.
Houston Atlantis Station. The lock wires removed already from both of the gas masks on 221.
We copy, Ed. Thanks.
Roger that, Scooter.
In this video live is Atlantis and the International Space Station past 230 miles above the nighttime southern Pacific. The crew closing up the Zvezda module, the new living quarters for the station. They've spent the past 5 days setting up, preparing for the first residents, planned to launch later this year.
Houston, we're ready to close the PEGO S2 hatch.
We're watching.
Commander Terry Wolcott and cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko now closing the aft hatch of Zarya.
Houston, do we have a go to close the Note 1 hatch in accordance with step 14?
You have a go.
Copy, thank you.
That the crew will now begin closing the Unity hatch that leads from Unity to the mating adapter, which attaches it to Zarya. This the Unity log that the crew signed by all the crews that have visited the station so far. This log kept aboard Unity and aboard the station will be left aboard by the crew of STS 106. Also in view above on the wall of the Unity module, the patches of the missions that have visited the station thus far, starting with STS-88, the mission that brought Unity into orbit, and the last patch in the sequence, the mission patch for Atlantis on STS 106. This television showing is the final, or the hatch to Unity is closed. This is the next to last hatch for the station. The 9th hatch that the crew's closed during the morning.
The station teams really enjoyed working with you guys over the past few days. You had a lot of work scheduled. You got all that done, and you kept asking for more. We think you did a fantastic job, and we know the Expedition 1 crew will really appreciate all the effort you put in getting their new home set up. And we look forward to seeing you in a few days.
Thanks a lot, station team. And we did get a lot of work done, but we know that we don't operate alone up here. We appreciate all your help and fine team support that you guys provided. Thank you. And do we have a go to close the hatch?
You do.
This live television from Atlantis and the camera in the payload bay showing the southern lights, the Aurora Australis, as Atlantis and the International Space Station pass well to the south of Australia, looking down, looking toward the Antarctic. Again, the southern lights in view behind the International Space Station here, the Aurora Australis.
Houston, even with the limitations of the ITBC, those are some pretty impressive lights.